I'll pause you there for a second, gentlemen, because this issue, the benefits story, was a very powerful part of the film I, Daniel Blake by the director Ken Loach. He focused on one particular case study and the man spirals into despair and poverty. Our correspondent Elaine Wilcox asked the director why he picked this topic for his film.
We went across the country, met many people, always the same story. And yet it's a story that wasn't being told.
Your only option is job seekers allowance.
Well, I want to appeal.
You have to apply online, sir.
There are many stories like Daniel Blake's and many people in his situation. I mean, just a few days ago, there was a story of a man who was declared fit for work and collapsed in the pavement outside shortly afterwards and died.
I've been told by my doctor that I'm not supposed to go back to work yet.
I'm afraid you must continue to look for work, or your benefit payments will be frozen.
Your film shows Daniel navigating a system that seems to be so difficult, only the very desperate continue to apply. The government says the assessments are rigorous, but they are fair.
They're clearly wrong. It's not rigorous, it's cruel, and case after case shows it.
This is James Harrison's story. It's very similar to those stories in your film, but this is real life.
He felt ashamed when he needed the help. There was nobody there for him.
Well, it's disgusting. Vulnerable people should be properly treated with dignity.
Now, Damien Green, the Benefits Minister, says not all job centre staff, as you portray, are faceless bureaucrats. And this is a popular policy. People want to see more people off benefits and doing work.
The average person thinks that a third of benefits are claimed illegally. Do you know what the real figure is? The real figure is 0.7. 0.7 wrongly claimed. 10 times more benefits are not claimed that should be claimed. And if you think of the tax cheats, well, that's off the scale.
You've won a Palme d'Or and critical acclaim. Some had hoped your film would be a movement for change, but the decision makers, ministers, they're not watching your film, are they?
We were asked if we wanted Theresa May and Green to watch it. No, they know what they're doing. I think the phrase is conscious cruelty. I mean, the government knows exactly what they're doing. It should make us all angry.
Is there a sense of frustration for you when you hear the stories that we featured, that people are still suffering?
I would say to those people who are been conned by the right-wing press, the Trump-like press, and by the vicious TV programmes, most of them, you're one step away from being Daniel Blake. You're one pay packet away and you'll be in trouble. So think carefully on which side you're on.
This was like his life's work. I mean, he put everything into this centre. You know, he wasn't work shy, he wasn't a slacker, and to think that, you know, in the end he ended up begging for the support that he needed and that he never received.
James Harrison had managed a community centre for 35 years and was made redundant. His daughter, who's studying for a science doctorate, says her father's health deteriorated as he applied for benefits. After his death, she found a note he'd typed for job centre staff describing how his health was suffering.
He often didn't have money to feed himself. He was drove to food banks. I think he went to a food bank, or he received a food bank token 2 weeks before he passed away.
Her father had a number of health issues, including a lung condition and depression, but was past fit for work, something his doctor didn't support. But his daughter discovered job centre staff had written to his GP, telling them to stop issuing her father with sick notes.
So if he didn't submit sick notes, if he didn't provide evidence as to why he couldn't attend or why he couldn't do certain jobs that they'd ask him to do, you know, he wouldn't have any payment from them. I mean, it's just so shocking to me that he was being asked to pay £50 for his medical records, which he desperately needed, and he just didn't have it, you know, because he only had 70 a week, so.
Like many claimants, Mr Harrison's appeal tribunal was held without him, and he was again deemed fit to work.
He felt ashamed, and I think there wasn't just one factor that contributed to that. The DWP, the job centre staff, the contact centre staff, even the assessor who carried out the assessment all contributed to this. You know, him feeling this shame, and that he, you know, it wasn't an entitlement. It was something, you know, he was clawing for, he was begging for.
Sick people have been out of work for many, many years, and that's why the work-related assessment groups is helping these people to get into work. But as it stands now, only 1 in 100 are getting into work, and that needs to change.
Do you remember?
My constituency constituency, I have 2 Job Centre Pluses. I pay tribute to the staff there, the work coaches that take on people with very, very difficult challenges to get them into work. And I pay tribute to those people in Job Centre Plus, because they do whatever they can to help people into work. We believe that work is the best way to help people with health conditions, mental health conditions. Work should always pay, but I do think it's the best thing.
And by the way, there's many millions of people that are in that situation who do work very hard, versus people who can't work through no fault of their own, not being sent into a cycle of poverty and illness because of the system. And I should say, you pay tribute to people who work in the job centres, and I do, including my family members who work there. They came into public service because they wanted to be good public servants, and they are absolutely depressed with the way the government are forcing them to treat people in an inhumane way.
I have 2 Job Centre Pluses. They are motivated. One of the policies that the government has introduced is universal credit. That helps Job Centre staff to enable people who were dependent on benefits. The benefit culture enables them to work, earn more money and not lose their benefits. So it's the combination of the government's welfare reforms that are helping more and more people into work. And in terms of disability, since 2013, over 500,000 disabled people have got jobs. So it's not true to say that everybody.
But there have been cuts to benefits, and wasn't it put as a way of making savings on the back of people?
No, we spent 50 billion on benefits, which is more than France and Germany. We're reinvesting that money to help the people that Jim's talking about. To help